Good morning out there, friends. It is Tuesday, the 21st of October, if you're watching us live.
And literally, just 30 minutes ago, David looked at his calendar and he was like, oh, what? How can it be October 21st already?
I know.
He's like, what? Oh no! How can it be? We're almost at Halloween? It's funny how sometimes
That's right.
time passes, you're aware that time is passing, but with kids, your time
Yes.
just goes by so fast. They grow up so fast, yet every day feels like it's so long by the time you finally get everybody to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the classic parent trope, but it continues.
It does, yeah. I mean, we have a really hard time conceptualizing time, don't we?
I think, yeah, humans do. Yeah, that's one reason why it's so featured so prominently in the lower L curriculum in Montessori.
Yeah, yeah, I think, yeah, it's just hard. We are animals, right? Our sense of time, yeah, I mean, long before we were keeping time on a watch or something, we were using the stars and
And we were tiny little furry mammals at one time.
well, that's very true. And we'll ask Mr. Bunny if he has a favorite watch, but no, but even like 10,000 years ago, when we were just kind of first scrabbling together what we would call society, modern society.
Yeah.
We were just like completely dependent on the sun and the moon, the stars, the weather. Those are the things that told us the time.
Mm-hmm.
And over the centuries, we developed things, church bells and sundials and things like that. But it's only really, I think, in this modern age where we have a timepiece everywhere.
Yeah.
And I wonder how it's affecting
and expectations for us to be exactly on time for all of these different little appointments and things that we
Yeah, and
schedule.
things to be done at a specific time that isn't, not set by the growing cycle or the migration of the fish or the whatever, like the amount of time it takes for the metal to cool or the pot to cure or something, right? Like there's all these other things involved in the way time works, but not in the modern world. In the modern world, we are masters of time, or so we think. I wonder what that does to our minds.
Well, you know how sometimes you go camping or something, you happen to not have a watch on you during a particular time period, and it's rare. But it's a different feel, waking up with the sun and then noting that the sun is overhead and then noting that the sun is setting and then realizing, oh, it's about to be really, really dark. It's a very different way of life. And I think that we as humans are pretty good at maybe not minute to minute, but conceptualizing the time over the course of a day, because we all engage in a basic rhythm, and we don't eat breakfast at exactly the same time if we were in camping, and you're just waking up with the sun, but you do roughly at about the same time. And I think that sometimes in our modern world, it seems like we've gotten rid of the roughly part. And we've tried to narrow it down to exact.
Yeah, and to transition that into the idea of homeschooling, we've been public school teachers, we've been homeschoolers, our kids have been were homeschooled forever. They've also had traditional schooling as well. Like we've seen kind of the gamut from all sides in our careers. And not only that, but we've seriously tried to study education and the educational theory. And a big part of that, what makes traditional schooling so rough is the sense of time. Be at school at a certain time. It's not
just that, it's like the being rushed part of the time.
Right. And so assignments are due in a certain pace that doesn't necessarily relate to the inspiration of the child, the interest. It doesn't give room to breathe. That you have to march through. So you take a set of ideas and then you decide how fast or slowly you have to cover those, and so it's all dependent on time.
Yeah, as a teacher, you remember doing that with curriculum.
Sure.
You would be handed a piece of curriculum and told this has to be finished by this exact date, and the students have to perform this well on average on the test by this date, and you'd have to figure out how do I cram all this stuff in to this time period? And
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't leave a lot of time for spontaneity. And that's one of the things I valued about homeschooling the most. In fact, you weren't here last night, but I was talking to our primary members who are in our cohort right now studying the primary curriculum. And one of our members said that there was this moment where she was really consumed with really being busy doing other things, like in a moment of like adult trying to organize, doing a bunch of stuff. And her son came running into the room, and all he was just saying was like, rain, rain, rain. And at first she's like, yeah, rain. And just continues to do it. And then she realizes, because he's so persistent, that something really captivating is going on with him. And so she forces herself to stop what she's doing. And the way she described this was like, you know how, in adult land, like our brains are just full of so many things, right? We're multitasking constantly, which is its own problem. And like the mental load of just being a parent and being responsible for beings, and like your prepared environment and your work, like all of that stuff, so consuming. It's really hard to listen when you hear a little voice say rain.
Yeah.
And sometimes we've all been there, like you hear the word and you're like, yeah, rain, okay. But it takes that extra step of mindfulness and effort on the part of the parent to say, like, maybe this is significant, I should pay attention. And sure enough, like, her child was thrilled that it was raining outside, and she forced herself to shut down whatever she was doing. She's like, I had all this stuff to do, and I'm just gonna just take it, put it aside. And she let her child follow, lead her to the window where they saw that they were raining. And then he runs outside, and they end up dancing in the rain for like 15 minutes or longer. I don't know how long they danced in the rain, but they had a delightful time, and they got soaking wet.
Yeah.
And she was so grateful that she had been able to set aside, her rush feel of like, I'm busy and I've got to accomplish this stuff, to realize like, this is a moment that's happening, and my child isn't experiencing time the same way that I am. And I could choose to say, oh, yep, it's raining, and just like let it go. Or I could choose to embrace that joyful moment.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to do that. But I just thought that was a beautiful example.
I love that. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot over the last several months about like.
Oh, and just to say, those are the things that we do in homeschooling. Like we can follow our children in that way much more often, I think, than children who are in a traditional school setting. It's very hard as a teacher to follow all of those magical moments. It's not that they never happen. They definitely do at school. And as a teacher, you still have the choice to follow them or not. But there's a lot more pressure not to, I think.
Totally. Yeah, there's a lot of pressure not to.
All right, what were you thinking over the past few months?
I've been thinking a lot about, it's interesting we're talking about this, because I've been thinking a lot about time, and this the sense of our hubris. I know it's a little philosophical, but I was like, I've started to wonder if like our greatest, most hubristic quality as modern humans is to think that we can control time. And like we can measure it, we can quantify it, we can dole it out, we can play with it, we can add it or subtract it, and as though we are masters of the world. And to some extent, like even like we can smash atoms, and we can do all kinds of things like that.
Yeah, we can enact change upon the earth.
That's right. And I think
and measure its effects.
That's right. That's right. And so like I think, but it's ultimately like a failure. Like it's not for us to control. Like it's hubris. It's like our Tower of Babel or something. And it's sort of wondering if like that's kind of the root of a lot of our kind of modern problems, is this sense of we can control time, and like, because that's not how it really works. I mean, whatever your philosophy is, the fact is plants grow on their schedule. Like you don't control them.
Yep.
Things migrate on their schedule. The sun moves or doesn't move. The earth moves around the sun at its schedule.
Yeah.
There are things that you just can, like, as much as we think we have control over time. The fact is we don't. Like, you can be told or tell your employees or your students, your children, if you're a teacher or an employer, to be at work or at school at a certain time. But you can't really fully control for that. Like, sometimes you're sick, sometimes the bus breaks down, sometimes there are things that are outside of your control. And sometimes it's raining, there are all kinds of things. And sometimes you like are physically present, like you were able to force the compliance. Your child did get to school on time, but they're in no way ready. Like, their minds aren't ready, they're hungry, they didn't get enough sleep, they're distracted. It was like, so great, you forced the compliance to the time, but you didn't actually get anything out of it other than like the compliance, and then you punish when they don't perform.
Yes, and this is true with adults at work as
Totally.
well. But as homeschoolers,
we don't have to do that.
we can choose to do that, or we can choose not to.
Absolutely.
And when our children were very, very little, we intentionally chose not to put them in classes or anything during this young, early childhood period of life. We didn't do classes until our kids were in elementary, maybe even sometimes, I think not really until like age 7 did we have our kids in actual classes.
Yeah, that's right.
After school classes or sports or any of that stuff.
That's right.
We did a lot of art classes instead of sports, but we did some physical activity stuff. But like when our children were very, very little, there's just no need to burden them with this pressure to accomplish or finish things on time. And of course, there will be times when you need to get out the door in order to meet somebody at the park or...
We live in a world constrained by
Of course. But I have, in my experience, homeschoolers are the most forgiving people about it. In fact, when we were homeschooling and our kids were younger and older, time often was really flexible for homeschoolers. So we would set a range of like, we're going to have park day, and it's going to start around 10 o'clock, and it's going to end around 3.
That's right.
And like you're looking and you're like, but wait, when are you meeting with friends? Like, this is all day? Are you going to be at the park all day? You might be, or you might show up at 11, or you might show up at noon, or, there's going to be maybe a morning crowd and an afternoon crowd. Or like, sometimes I would sometimes feel guilty meeting just with play dates with friends. It would be like, let's meet in the morning, okay, and like finally by the time everybody gets together and we manage to meet at the park, it's like an hour later past when we had agreed upon meeting. Sometimes it was me that was late, sometimes it was a friend that was late, but it felt like such a wonderful opportunity to embrace a different time, like a different period, a different way of living life.
Yeah, and it's not to say that the work doesn't have to happen,
for sure,
or that it won't take time to accomplish.
Yeah.
But it's to be more natural, human, forgiving, open.
More open with time.
And
conceiving of time in terms of bigger blocks of time, which Maria Montessori tried to get us to do anyway.
Yeah.
She wanted us to think of work instead of a set beginning and ending period, instead to conceive of it as a cycle.
Right.
A cycle.
The work
and this
cycle
really trips people up because we hear the word like a 3-hour work cycle and we're like, okay, so when is that? Is that exactly from 8 o'clock to, and you're like, no, it's a concept.
Yeah, it's
rather
a period
than a
of focused effort that you could see reflected in your child or in an adult. Actually, you'll see the same thing. And it happens when the conditions are ripe. So you... And that is, so that kind of tying us together, like, it's an interesting conversation and something that we take for granted. When we talk about homeschooling, you can definitely homeschool in a way that looks like a traditional school. And there are lots of people out there who will follow that approach. And it is for the same reason that where you school starts at 7:30 and you have all the folders lined up, and then your child sits down and they work through the folders until this certain time, and then they go to lunch, and then that is a way to homeschool, and it's a very popular way to homeschool because for the same reason it's popular in traditional schools. It's relatively easy to manage. It puts more onus on the child, which isn't bad. Like it gives responsibility to the child to sort of pace through and like this is the starting time, this is the ending time. It ensures coverage of content.
Your child can adapt to whatever schedule you set forth for them.
It ensures coverage of content. So those are all benefits of why you might use that method. We would push back and say those actually aren't that useful. Ensuring coverage of content isn't very useful. Like there are essential concepts. That's why we have a core curriculum, but the mind will acquire and forget over the course of your life, and it's just wrong to assume that everything that you fill your child's head with by the age of 10 or 11 is going to still be there by the age of 20. It's going to shed and then come back. So it's more about the exposure and the rigor of the exposure, working the mind like a muscle rather than filling it with facts. So coverage isn't important, it's exposure and depth of thinking.
Yeah.
You might not cover very many topics, but you might cover them in depth. Setting out folders and saying that 7:30 to 12:30 is the school time gives the student control or your child control. It kind of gives them control, but it actually just makes them obedient to the clock. So you're teaching them a discipline to follow the clock, but it's not necessarily taking into account, it's not necessarily encouraging or even supporting their self-discipline, where they need to learn internal, intrinsic motivation to focus and learn how to account for their time. Like you want to guide them, but when we prescribe it, you are attaching an extrinsic motivator, and it actually is going to be counterproductive. You want children to have to learn how to deal with boredom and how to redirect themselves. And using a time-based system can support, but if it's entirely reliant on it, you're doing your child a disservice because you're not teaching them the intrinsic motivators that are necessary for success in long-term in life. And is it easier? It is in a way easier. Like you've got it all just laid out, right? It's cut and dry. But actually, in my experience as a teacher and as a homeschooler, like those methods actually tend to take a lot of time, more time than you think from the parent. Like you as the parent will spend a lot more time doing grading and other things. Or if it's in a computerized system like now, where the computer is giving grades and so forth, you're still responsible, if you're doing it correctly, for monitoring and checking and motivating and teaching where the system fails, right? So it feels like it's going to be a quick win, but it's actually not. And so I think the strengths actually I don't think are all that compelling when you really think about it. And so we would encourage folks to think about, if they have the opportunity to homeschool and you're with us here and you are homeschooling and you're thinking about it, be brave and embrace a non-conformist approach to life. Accept joy in your life, accept randomness in your life, accept that the child will want to learn. Your child wants to learn. Accept that. They don't have to be forced to it. They don't have to be told to show up. They may not always be ready and interested at the moment, but learning is incredibly rich for all humans. We love to learn. We are learning creatures. If you embrace that, you will go so far with learning. And when you create systems that sort of add other factors to it, like the time, completing a book, completing an assignment by a certain time, getting a certain score, you start to rob people of that natural joy. That's what Maria was warning about all those many, many, many decades ago, and we've seen consistently. Like you see kids who come in joyful, and by the time they're in the upper elementary grades, they tend to be really unjoyful and hate or really resent school because the natural joy of learning has been crushed out of them and replaced by systematic things. You don't have to do that. It's not good for them. It's not fun. You don't have to do it. Embrace a different way, the Montessori way.
Yeah. Now, I think a lot of people think that homeschooling, speaking of time, must take so much time. People think when I homeschool my child, I have to follow the school schedule, start at 8 o'clock and end at 3 or 3:30, just like the school schedule. And this is not true. You can make learning a part of your everyday life.
Oh, yeah.
And we want to show you today in this, we're going to show another activity in our sample pack
this is our,
today.
yes, we've shown a couple so far. This is the third.
Yeah, so we want to show you a different way to think about learning with your child. And one of the keys to making it successful is to learn with your child, to think of it as a collaborative partnership between you and your child. You guys are playing together, learning together, growing together, and there are activities inside the sample pack that I think, if you're brand new to Child of the Redwoods, you will never have seen before, that are written the Montessori way. So you'll be using the authentic Montessori method. And I think it does a really good job of showing how to make learning fun and playful. So we're going to show you an activity from the sample pack today. Did you pop that up there?
Yeah. So if you're in our community and you're already a member, you're going to recognize this. If you've been with us, this is from our pets theme, which was a really fun one we did just a few months ago.
Yes.
If you're new to us and a member, go grab that. You can find it in the pets theme. If you're not already a member, go to this URL right here and grab your sample pack. It's got this plus the other activities we've been highlighting over the last few weeks. We have a math lesson from Ladybug that's really fun. We have a practical life lesson that was the perfectly polished apple, and some samples of our foundational curriculum as well, which we're going to talk about next week. If you are a member and you want to give someone to share with them like what kinds of things you're doing in Child of the Redwoods, this is a great way as well. Send them the URL and they can download and have some fun in a different approach to learning. So this activity is called...
We're going to show you an activity called pet care.
Pet care.
And it's about caring for pets. So your child will be learning about pets. But the actual purpose of this lesson is a reading and writing lesson. And that's why we are demonstrating this lesson and including it into the sample pack. Because a lot of people are interested in learning how to teach reading the Montessori way. And even if you're a member, if you're interested, you're finally at the stage where you are ready to teach your child how to read, you want to do Montessori, I think you're going to learn something in our conversation too about the Montessori method to teaching reading. Because I have a lot of things on my mind. With this lesson. This lesson is it's more than just one concept. And that's true of most of the lessons that we include in our thematic packs.
Yes, that's right. It's interdisciplinary.
So we're teaching about pets, and we're also going to help our children to become better readers. And we're also teaching them some critical thinking skills as well, because they're going to be doing some sorting and some analyzing. And of course, we hope to teach this through the exploration of enjoying the concept of domesticated animals.
And it's a great example of a hook that can draw your attention. And we talked about this last week. It's an example of how you can create meaningful work for kids, because as adults, the most joyful of our work is when it's meaningful, whether it's work in an office, work at home, cooking for ourselves or our family, whatever it is. When there's an actual meaningful purpose to it, it's so much more joyful and it'll stick, it's lasting. And so with kids, we want to try and provide as much of that as possible. So we want to take an abstract concept, in this case like learning vocabulary, and we want to bring it into a task, a project, something that has relevance or interest, a hook, and bring in all other kinds of concepts. That's the interdisciplinary approach. It's not just reading, it's also humankind, it's also life science, et cetera, et cetera. That makes it stick. It makes it fun, it makes it sticky, and it is a way to replicate the way the best learning happens for adults.
All right, so let's jump in, as one says.
As one says
in YouTube land. All right, so this activity is called Pet Care. And it begins like this. I'll go ahead and read the introduction to you. Just like people, pets have needs, sometimes lots and lots of needs. A pet can't use words to say, I'm hungry, or I need attention. Yeah, most pets can't do that. Instead, pet owners have the responsibility of observing and responding with care. In this activity, your child is going to look at the pictures of pets, and David just held one up, and he'll kind of show you what those look like. And then we're going to read about what those pets need. And then we are going to take action by doing another reading activity, and we'll match the actions that we take to take care of these pets with these little word,
so we're gonna have some.
these little sentence
Quite see
strips.
that. Maybe it's showing up.
Okay. So, the first thing that I want to bring to our attention as we talk about this is this lesson about pet care actually is at heart a Montessori lesson in the lower elementary curriculum that's an extension of it. And that overarching lesson is the fundamental needs of human beings.
Which is a humankind activity.
Yes, it's a humankind activity. And so what we've done with this particular lesson, if we've taken that concept of, humans have needs, what are our needs as humans, which is something that your child is going to be learning in level 4 of humankind, levels 4 and 5.
4, 5, 6.
And 6 of humankind. And we're taking that general concept, we're extending, modifying it, playing with it to help us to explore pets, and we're going to talk about their needs instead. And so the hope is that even if your child is younger, this is still an accessible lesson. Learning about needs and care is 100% a primary activity as well. But by the time your child gets to their lower L years,
6, 7. Yeah.
let's say if they've already had that lesson, then they'll know immediately like what's going on here. And if they haven't had those lessons in humankind yet, this is an activity that will kind of set the stage or prepare them for it. So it works both ways, right? So it is just to say, like, on the surface of it, what are we going to be doing? We've got some animal cards, and I had 2 stacks of these.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay, we've got a stack of sentence strips that are about needs, and so the example would be the hamster needs to run. And we've got a stack of sentence strips about care, actions that we can take.
They're kind of like commands, right? So this says give the lizard some food, walk the dog, etc.
Yeah. So we've got 3 things in this, and with all of the Child of the Redwoods themes or materials that we include in our thematic units, we include everything that you need to give the lesson. And so all of those Montessori cards that you see in a Montessori classroom, like, we create those for you at Child of the Redwoods, and we will include them inside every single thematic unit. Well, I'll tell you something that most people don't know is that after I show off these lessons in our YouTube, my mother inevitably will text me and say, why aren't you selling this to Montessori teachers all over the world? Because this is exactly what I wanted in my classroom, and yet took so much time to create. So, it means a lot to me that she taught in the Montessori classroom for so long. She was in there for over 30 years, I believe. And it means a lot that she looks at these materials and says, like, yes, this is actually exactly what I would have wanted to put in my classroom. This would have been an invaluable resource. And as always, I think that's really sweet. And if you're a Montessori guide out there, of course, email us. We'd be happy to work with you as well, even if you're not a parent. We love people to use our materials, but we do create our lessons specifically for parents.
That's right.
And so in all of our lessons, we're going to be using the word your child. We're going to be directing you to go into your living room maybe, or your kitchen, those sorts of things that we know would be in a homeschooler's home environment.
Yeah, it's really high quality Montessori materials and lessons adapted for a homeschool family.
Yes. And the other thing that makes us special is, can you go to something like Teacher Pay Teacher or Montessori Services and buy yourselves a set of cards with animals? Sure, but you are never going to find this lesson about pet care with these particular sentence strips. Part of the fun of owning our own business and getting to play with the Montessori method in an authentic way is creating never before seen materials that really stretch our creativity as well. We're really proud of the lessons that we create here at Child of the
Definitely.
Redwoods. And I can guarantee you that we also create classic materials that you can find, at Montessori services or other places.
Sure.
But we also create a lot. Most of our materials you can't get them anywhere else because they're original.
And they're meant to be. And they're not only the materials, what's essential about our approach is that it's scripted out. So the idea is that if you've wanted to try Montessori and you're feeling intimidated by it, you don't have to let that get in the way with our approach. You print the materials and you follow the step-by-step directions, and you will give a Montessori lesson. And if you stick with us over the course of several weeks, as you give more lessons and you take our self-paced course and you join our community, you'll not only be able just to follow along, give the directions, you're going to actually learn how to think like a Montessori. And so over the course of your time with us, you can go from no knowledge, day one, give a lesson, to an expert, or a feeling completely confident. We've seen it again and again with people in our community, and it's so gratifying because that actually is the heart of Montessori. It's not in actually any of these lessons, or it's in the philosophy and the mindset. And so our approach is designed to get you started so that you feel successful and can have fun with your kids right away, while moving you along toward that ultimate goal, which is transformation.
Yeah.
Internal
Now,
transformation.
members who have been with us for the last, let's say, I would even say 1 year, have followed our thematic approach. That means they've done 12 Montessori themes with at least 10 fully scripted lessons in each one. They have a really solid understanding of Montessori by the time they're just with us for a year. But it does take practice and intention and study. And that's something that we do really well at Child of the Redwoods, is help you to find the easiest path to making that Montessori practice, the way of life, really part of your real life.
Transformation can really happen.
Yeah, it's amazing when it happens. So let's take a look at this theme in particular, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to talk about why we created it and what's inside. What you can expect in a Child of the Redwoods lesson, and I want to talk about some tips for or actually just the philosophy and the pedagogy behind this lesson, the kind of thought that goes behind it, because a lot of people have misconceptions about teaching reading. And I've noticed that a lot of people will think that the Montessori way to teach reading needs to have a very highly scripted set of lessons that's just micro-stepped for children. And true, some children will need more direct instruction in reading. But the Montessori method is actually super simple. And this is a part of the Montessori method for teaching reading that a lot of people don't even recognize is part of the reading curriculum. And so we try to illuminate that more in our themes and include a lot of these resources. And I think a lot of our members who have been with us for a while, they get it, and they're using them with the intention that we had created behind them, that Montessori had intended. But most people just don't know this part of the Montessori reading curriculum.
That's right.
Just about everybody knows about the sandpaper letters.
Yeah, maybe the movable alphabet.
Maybe the movable alphabet, which I love, by the way. Both of those materials are amazing. If I had to pick one, it would be the movable alphabet and not the sandpaper letters.
Yeah.
100%.
So much more usable.
If you're going to choose one to invest in, it's the movable alphabet.
Yeah, the sandpaper letters do one very specific important thing, and the movable alphabet has so many applications.
Yes, and the sandpaper letters can be very easily replaced with other tactile ways to experience letters. Movable alphabet cannot. You need it. And even if it's a paper version, you still need one in order to teach your child how to read and help them to learn the decoding skills that will carry them on.
Yeah, because in a nutshell, you're taking away the blocker of the fine pencil grip, the fine motor control, and letting kids begin to work with words and sounds even before their physical dexterity is there. And that is a huge game changer. It's also just really fun to see all your options laid out and not have to imagine them, but to see the possible letters. And it's just such a powerful tool. Now,
But there is a third.
oh,
There is a third part to teaching reading. And we've got our tactile impression of the letter.
Yes.
We were playing with the letter with the movable alphabet. What comes next? It's command cards. Who's heard of command cards? Almost no one, unless you're a Montessorian and you're trained in primary and you're a guided Montessori school. It's very rare to know about this very, very important part of the Montessori reading curriculum.
yes, that's right.
So let's go through and talk about command cards and what they are and how we are using them in this lesson.
Okay.
So every single lesson does highlight an objective, even though we've already told you this lesson actually covers life science. It's a reading lesson. It's a humankind lesson. Tangentially, it's teaching lots of concepts. But we've highlighted reading. Do you want to read the objective for this lesson?
Yeah, so your child is comparing and contrasting similar visual images, developing their vocabulary, and reading short sentences.
So we've got visual discrimination.
Right, and so part of that's going to be here so we have 3 sets of materials that are provided. Again, you can grab that here at the link at /sample. If you're not a member, if you are a member, you can go grab it in the pets theme.
I'm going to go ahead and give you an example of the visual discrimination. You said your child is comparing and contrasting similar visual images. So here is an example of that. Here I have a hamster.
Yep.
And they're the cute little guy. And then I also have a guinea pig. They look kind of similar to each other, even though they're in different positions. They both have little twitchy noses and little ears.
I know, exactly. I'd probably make a mistake at first, or it's possible.
It's possible, yeah. And so it does take a discriminating eye to determine, like, which animal is this? Hamster or guinea pig? And then once you know, you'll remember, and that's also helping them with their memory and visual skills as well. But so that's one part. This is one of the 3 included materials. And what was another part? You said
developing vocabulary and reading short sentences.
Right, developing vocabulary. So the vocabulary for a very young child can be as simple as, this is a hamster. This is a parrot. This is a pony. So like hearing the word pony, parrot, hamster, associating it with an image, like that's developing vocabulary. Okay? And then you said reading short sentences. And we've also shown you some of the short sentences.
So here you have both a sentence in third person and in second person, which is the command card. And these are included and they go with the images. And this is also where you'll get into visual discrimination as well. I think in this activity, I think they have to find the correct card, that label that goes with the image. And so they're having to not only discriminate with the images, but they're having to then apply those same skills to discriminating with the shapes
between
of the
words,
letters and the words. So these are all super important skills. They're all baked into this one lesson. As Aubrey was saying, it covers other things as well. But this is a classic Montessori lesson with a twist. So what you're going to do is you're going to print out your materials. The other thing that you're going to get is this label, which just says pet care at the top. You're going to print all that out and prepare it. Remember, you're always going to practice first. So print it out and give the lesson to yourself before giving it to your child.
Or at least skim through.
At least skim through, yeah. But it's all spelled out step by step. So just read through it or at least try it. It will go much better for you. So first you're going to discuss, so here's a key as well. So all of our lessons, or most of our lessons, theme lessons, start with a conceptual, So in this case, it's talk about the needs of pets. If you have a pet, start with that. What does it need? So we suggest saying something like, pets need people to take care of them every day. They need food, clean water, a safe place to live, and so much love. They also need exercise, rest, and regular care, like brushing or cleaning their space. Just like us, pets feel best when they are healthy and comfortable. So I think a lot of times we want to skip this part and we want to just jump right into, okay, here's some pictures. Let's find the word that says horse. And that is not the approach we take at Child of the Redwoods. You want to start by giving them a bigger picture. This cosmic education is important. It elevates it, it ties it into something broader. It's one of the reasons this kind of lesson can work on so many different levels. Don't skip that step. Okay.
We actually make this easier for our parents because we encourage them actually to start these conversations with literature. So at the beginning of every single thematic pack, we give a literature list. We actually give these lists a month ahead of time
So you can
before.
go get them at the library or whatever.
Get them at the library. And then you're going to have these stacks of books, and this is what you're going to use to have the conversation with.
That's right.
Yeah. So if you're brand new to Child of the Redwoods and you're wondering, like, how am I supposed to start these conversations with my child? My top recommendation is start by, like, you're just reading the books and then you're going to use those as a gateway into these conversations.
Yep, absolutely right. Okay, so now you're going to move into the materials itself. And the first step is you're going to get your classified cards, which are the pictures here. And you're going to say, here are some animals commonly kept by pets. And then you're
Kept as pets.
Kept as pets by people. So select one of the cards from the stack and talk about what you see. So what animal do you see? What do you notice? Those kinds of questions. So
I see a dog.
oh, that's a
Has a long body.
oh yes, he looks shorter than he is long.
He does look shorter. Do you know what kind of dog this is?
I think it's a corgi.
He looks kind of like a corgi. I think. I'm not 100% sure.
He looks
but
really
I think
happy too. I like how smiley he is.
He's so smiley.
I bet he's soft.
He has big ears.
Oh, I bet his ears are soft to pet.
His fur is golden.
I love him.
Yeah.
I wonder what his name would be. What would you name
He
him?
kind of reminds me of like a little fox. He's very cute,
Oh.
but very stocky
What would
fox.
you name that dog? What would you name him if he was your pet?
Cutie pie.
Cutie pie is a good one. All right, so you're going to have a conversation, right? This is super critical as well.
And then we take the card and we're going to lay it down.
Right, and you're going to go through this. Now, if you've got a really little one, you're going to only use a couple cards. The older the child, the more cards you'll go through. The younger the child, the fewer cards you'll use, or the fewer parts of the whole activity you'll use. That's an easy way to scale up and down. So here's a Mr. Bunny.
Here's a Mr. Bunny.
Did you say Mr. Bunny?
This is a rabbit, friends, a rabbit.
Yep.
And so you don't always have to fill the lesson with words.
Yep.
If you've got an older child, they'll probably want to do more talking. If you've got a younger child, it's perfectly okay to say dog.
That's right. In fact,
Rabbit.
the younger they are, in general,
Rabbit.
we recommend less conversation.
Guinea pig.
Guinea pig.
Lizard. Hamster. Snake. Parrot. Pony. Okay, now we've got all our we've got all our beautiful animals, we're discussing them, and your child is just enjoying visually looking at them. This is a point where you actually might play some games with your child, especially if your child is younger. As I've got all these animals in front of me, I'm thinking you could look at them. Look at them.
I'm looking.
Okay, now close your eyes. I turned one over.
Oh no.
Now open.
I should have looked harder.
Who's missing?
I think it's the corgi. Dog.
Find out. It is. It was the corgi. It was the corgi. So that's a fun game that you can play. We teach that in primary, but I think sometimes parents don't always remember it. So reminder to those of you who remember is like play what's missing with any of your classification
It's
cards.
also a great example of why, we get asked sometimes why we don't mail things. And it's for a number of reasons, most importantly cost. We are able to keep our costs lower. But one of the real benefits of not mailing stuff, but instead giving you guys digital copies, is that if you wanted to play a real matching memory game, you could print out 2 sets of these cards and set them out and have that as a fun game. And you would just print as many sets as you needed. So there's ways to even extend these materials beyond what we imagined originally.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I love this. So what's next? So we've introduced the animals, and presumably we've laid them on a rug in order.
That's right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the set of sentences with the needs of pet sentences. These are the command cards. And we're going to read the first sentence out loud. So go ahead and grab any one of the command cards. No,
Okay.
not that.
Not that one.
The other one.
The command
Like, for
cards?
example, the cat needs a snuggle. Look for the picture of the cat among the classified cards and place the sentence underneath the picture.
So this would be the sentence that describes the needs. So it's not really a command.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Because doesn't start with a verb and give a...
You're right.
an action.
My mistake.
But this is a sentence. So you didn't want this one about the pony?
No, you're absolutely right. So you might say,
This one says the pony needs brushing.
oh no, I think this pony sure does need a little brushing.
This pony does need brushing. The pony needs brushing. Aw, poor pony. I hope he gets to be brushed.
Yep, and we're going to do another one.
All right, this one is about the snake.
So how would you do this? Would you read this aloud? Would you have your child read it?
What does it say to do?
Well, just read the first sentence aloud and then continue until the pictures and needs have been matched.
The snake needs a warm lamp. Can you find the snake? Where's our snake?
There's no snake. Oh.
It's right here.
If it was a snake, it would have bit me.
It would have. The snake needs a warm lamp, so we'll put this with the snake. And then we can read the next one. The guinea pig needs a hiding place. Where's the guinea pig? Here he is. Oh, he needs a little hiding place. Oh, I wonder what this lizard needs or what this hamster needs.
So what does it say?
The lizard needs food. Oh, he must be very hungry.
I bet he is hungry.
I bet he is. And then we'll do one more. I've only got a few cards out, so I'll sneak this one in here. This says the hamster needs to run. Here's our hamster. There he is. Oh, he really needs to run. He needs activity. He must have a lot of energy.
I bet. All right.
Oh, these animals have a lot of needs.
That's right. So now you have continued until you've matched everything, or as many as you were using. Now you're going to introduce, and sorry, I made a mistake earlier. Now you're going to introduce the second set of pet care cards and scatter them randomly on your workspace. And these are the ones that will start with the verb. Okay, so ask your child to choose a sentence, read it out loud. For example,
Give the hamster a wheel.
give the hamster a wheel.
Yeah.
Okay? And
can we
find
our
a picture
hamster?
of the hamster.
Here he is.
And
It says the hamster needs to run. And now we're going to give the hamster a wheel. Here you go, little buddy. Here's your wheel.
all right, what's another one?
This says, give the snake a warm lamp.
Well, he's cold-blooded. He needs, here you go, buddy. Now you're nice and warm.
Now you're nice and warm. Get all warm with that lamp. Let's see. This one says, brush the pony's mane.
Oh, yes.
Aw, this
He'll
pony-
like it. I bet it feels good, like he's getting
Pony really
scratched.
needed brushing. So now we've got two sentences here. The pony needs brushing and brush the pony's mane. Brush, 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 brush. In my experience, that's the part of the lesson the children like the best.
Oh, yes.
Is the pretend play and the interacting. So if you've ever heard anyone say in Montessori, we don't do pretend play, or like the Montessori materials aren't for pretend playing with, like, forget that, right? That's the whole most fun part of these Montessori lessons. Yeah, so I have guinea pig here, and it's probably in here somewhere. I know I put it in there. Oh, it says, here it is, give the guinea pig a tunnel for hiding. And it said the guinea pig needs a hiding place, and now we have matched it with an act of compassion for the guinea pig. We're caring for these pets. And the last one is the lizard. And this one says the lizard needs food. And here this one says, give the lizard some food. There you go.
You really do have to do that part.
You really
It's
do.
not optional. And that's it. And you're going to play this as it's a game, right? But it's actually quite a lot of learning going on here. You're going to match as many cards as you have. Now, again, in our packs, we always tell you how to make it easier or harder depending on the age of your child. So for a younger child, you might only have the pictures of the animals and say, oh, look, this doggy needs food, and then act it out. If they're a primary child, you might start to introduce some of the, depending on where they are in their reading, you might read. I would think you might do the reading and then matching with them. And if they're in lower elementary, especially if they're at like at a level 4 or 5, then this would be the kind of thing that we could do all on their own.
That's right. That's right. And, this also makes it a great tangent would be grammar for
yes.
this. This can be part grammar activity for our older kids who already know their grammar symbols and are already working with grammar. And that would be like labeling the words with the grammar symbols. So, for example.
Yeah, right. Let's say the snake needs a warm lamp. So
you've got an article,
a noun,
a
verb, another article, an adjective, and a noun. Another thing you can do for older kids is you can chop up which is something we often do in Montessori. You can cut up the command card or the sentence, the strip, and you can jumble the words around. So it's like a kind of like a Mad Lib. So you could say, the lamp needs a warm snake, right? Or it could just be completely right. Or the snuggle needs a cat or something.
And these are actual lessons in our lower L grammar curriculum.
Yeah, that's right. And it's a lot of fun. Now, to further extend this, you can move your fun little picture cards away. You can get out your labels. You'll have 2. You have pet care and needs of pet. And you'll put them on your workspace, pet care on one side and needs of pet on the other. And then they'll take the sentence cards and they'll align them correctly. So pet care would be the command, like give the snake a warm lamp. And the needs would be the one that starts with the article, the snake needs, right?
Yep.
And so now it's going like there's visual discrimination going on there. There's understanding parts of speech that's implicit to it. There's just straight on reading.
Right.
So there's a lot of fun. These are
what
really
you're talking
fun.
about is sorting all of these sentence strips.
Yeah, so you might take all the sentence strips, I think there would be 20 or something, and jumbling them up and laying them on your workspace, and then the child picking one at a time and putting under the correct label.
Category,
Yeah.
Is it a need or is it action we're taking?
That's right. Yeah. So, and again, we've mentioned already a couple variations. You can cut up the sentences. You can write your own sentences.
Oh, I was thinking while you were talking about writing your own, it would be really fun. Most kids have some kind of menagerie in their bedroom of stuffies
and things, yes.
things, or little toys that are toy animals. Or maybe even, maybe you have a farm, like a little pretend farm, or a Playmobil set, whatever it is. But it could be a great activity to get a strip of paper and then write, the needs of each animal.
So you got like a little plastic cow for your farm set. You might say,
what does the cow need?
The cow needs hay.
The cow needs hay, and then you would write it down. And this is just like straight on Montessori. Now, what is this also doing? This is the part of the reading curriculum most people ignore. Okay? Most people, I've even heard it from some Montessorians, like the reading curriculum just doesn't continue enough in Montessori after the movable alphabet. What? What do we do? We're going to have to go purchase some other reading curriculum. No, you don't have to purchase another reading curriculum. But you do need to start writing sentences and even modeling paragraphs, for your child at that point. After they're blending words together, you need to give them lots to read. And you can do it with little lessons like this. You could also keep a whole bunch of sticky notes around.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yes, another trick from my mother. That's what she did with me when I was little, was she would just write notes on sticky notes and then leave them around the house for me to find and read. You're just really trying to provide as much for your child to read in a way that is least intimidating for them. So you don't have to write a whole lot, but command sentences, command sentence strips like this, like give the snake a warm lamp, they're fun. We're doing a lot of pretend play with it, but it's also action oriented, and children really like to do things.
Yes.
When we're doing and we're moving and we're pretending and we're interacting, that's when those neural connections are really made and start to sink in for children educationally. So there's a lot going on in lessons like this. So if you're new to Child of the Redwoods and you see like there's sentence strips and stuff inside our packets, don't think that if your child can't read yet that they're not ready for them. This is part of the reading curriculum. We are teaching reading by using these. And then when your child is in lower elementary and after your child does have the ability to blend sounds into words and start to really conceptualize that, then we have a whole lot of other lessons to teach you in our grammar curriculum and with word study. So anyway, lots of fun stuff.
Yeah, this is a really fun activity. Lots of ways that you can use it beyond just what we've described. I like this one a lot. It's just really cute. I like the idea of playing with pets.
Yeah.
Everybody loves pets. That pets unit was very popular.
It was super popular.
Okay, I know we have to go because we're at time, but I did think it would be useful to have another perspective on this activity.
Oh.
Yes, and so I'm going to ask our friend and neighbor, Mr. Bunny, to join us. Hi, Mr. Bunny, can you, just a minute, I'm taking a bath.
Oh, he's taking a bath? I didn't know rabbits did that.
I had to wash my hair.
Oh, your fur.
No, I'm a hair.
Oh, you're a hare. Of course. Of course, Mr.
Yep, that's a rabbit pun. Yeah.
Well, Mr. Bunny,
Yes.
I would love to hear the bunny perspective on this pet care and pet needs work.
Well, I liked it a lot. I was just, my only complaint is that, I mean, yes, lizards are great, and I love ponies. They're good too. Yes, he's adorable.
Hamsters
sure,
are
hamsters
so
and
cute.
guinea pigs. Yes, I've got some friends. Kind of scary. But I will be brave. Oh, yes. Oh, I love corgis. And exactly. Where was the rabbit?
Oh, you know what? I mean, he was just sitting here this whole time, but not featured this time, sadly.
Well, I am here to advocate for rabbits and rabbit kind all over. When you do this activity, you must include the rabbit. It is required.
That is a good reminder, Mr.
That's
Bunny.
right. Because what do you think this rabbit might need? I would know because I am a rabbit.
Well, what do you think this rabbit needs, Mr. Bunny?
Well, he needs affordable health care and... No, wait. He needs water, fresh water to drink, and plenty of juicy carrots.
Yes.
That's right. So I am going to give him some water.
Aww.
He looks like, it's like looking in a mirror.
Now he's not thirsty anymore. But he would like some carrots. He needs carrots.
I'll get you some carrots. Here we go. And one for me.
Nibble, nibble, nibble.
And one for you. Carrots for
you.
everybody. Carrots for you.
Well, thank you so much from Mr. Bunny. I really appreciate your bunny perspective.
Yeah, this is a good one. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Now that Mr. Bunny, he's always got something to say.
He always does.
Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, if you are not a member and you'd like to try this out at home, to give a Montessori lesson today, you can do that with our sample pack. Just go to this URL, childoftheredwoods.com/sample, put in your email address, and we'll send you the pack. If you have any trouble with the link or anything, you can always email us at hello@childoftheredwoods, or you can reach us on the chat. If we are available, we will pick up. And it's right there on our website. Just click chat with us and we will pop up.
Yes, not an AI version of us.
No AI.
Actually us.
The actual us. The actual real deal us.
All right. Love you, friends. Have a good one.
Okay, everybody.